And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse. And today, our very, very good friend, one of the fiercest and funniest resistors I know, Kamau Bell. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Welcome.
Heather, what are we going to do today?
Let's discuss, first of all, the horrific fact that today is the end of SNAP benefits, right? AKA food stamps. Also, the government shutdown. Where does it stand? What are we doing with that? We have an election coming up in
What are we
many
doing
states.
with the government shutdown? It's
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah.
I didn't get that
What
email.
are we going to do, guys?
We're not shutting down.
Yeah.
No.
We're going to continue.
And then let's discuss what Trump's been up to, the election that's coming up. But the food stamps, the SNAP,
Yeah.
go.
Well,
Help.
I mean, go. The problem is it's stopped. And there are 42 million Americans dependent on that. 1 out of every 8 Americans, including a huge number of kids.
16 million.
16 million.
16 million of the people receiving food stamps are kids.
I mean,
Many
and
of
you
them
have the
under 5.
disabled. I mean, you have
Yeah.
everybody in America who is vulnerable. And what? I mean, they're just not going to get any help.
And the frustrating part is, even with the government being shut down, there is money set aside, supplemental money, that the government could use if we had a working government. But Trump has made it clear he does not like it when governments work. So they're just going to leave this pot of money there.
That's right. There's $6 billion in this pot, and they could easily use it for food stamps. In fact, the law requires them to continue to fund food stamps.
And let's just be clear, it's $100 billion
A year.
which, by the way, in the big ugly bill, is exactly the amount per year of tax cuts going to the rich, additional tax cuts.
Well, it's interesting you say that. It seems to be a trade-off of
Yes.
some sort.
And something seems to be prioritized. But imagine using, I mean, we don't have to imagine, the poorest people who are working, a third of people who get food stamps have earned income. 55% of people with kids who are getting food stamps have earned income. And then everyone else has Social Security, which is considered unearned income. But so you're using these people as a bargaining chip in a bad faith negotiation?
And
Like,
let's also,
are you kidding?
And that's also just recontextualized in the wealthiest country in the world, or among the wealthiest countries in the world, depending upon the day, but definitely easily in the top 2 wealthiest countries in the world.
Well,
And so,
and when you say wealthiest country, you are right, but also it is the billionaires
Yeah.
and others at the top who are really, sitting on top of most of the wealth. I mean,
can I propose? This is my new idea for billionaires.
Yes.
Let's go back to where money only exists in paper, like no credit
Yeah.
cards, no checks, no.
But do stocks count?
No,
Like an old-
everything's
okay.
paper. So if
Okay.
you buy stocks, you have to buy it. You have to hand somebody. It's all paper
Okay.
currency.
do you
all paper
carry your
currency.
stock in your pocket?
Well, yeah, you have to, or put it in your house, or you can still have a bank. But if you
Okay.
give the bank $100 bill, they have to hold that $100 bill. They don't get to convert it.
Interesting.
And then you get to see billionaires as the hoarders they are, because their houses would just be filled with money, like pizza boxes and cat
I
skeletons.
love that idea.
Yeah, so you'd actually get to see what a sickness it is, because you, instead of seeing this beautiful house that Jeff Bezos owns, you'd see a house that was just stacked to the ceilings.
But Bezos would have 20 or 30 bedrooms, so he would have enough
He has 30
space.
bathrooms in that DC house. Remember that?
Yeah.
I still think you'd see just because they're all every time but even if he was carrying money with him, it would just be stuffed in his pockets,
Right.
or he'd have people carrying suitcases filled with the money he was spending, and you would see oh, that's a sickness.
Oh, we're
Well, it
making
is
a video.
sickness. I
Yeah.
mean, people
making a video with
I
this.
think people are getting this. I mean, there is no reason for billionaires. I mean, we never used to have billionaires. There's no reason, how do you get to be a billionaire? Well, 60% of the wealth in this country, 60% is inherited. It comes from your parents. You didn't work for it, 60%. And then a lot of it is inside information on Wall Street. And a lot of it is CEO pay that is linked to the stock market, which is linked to buybacks. I mean,
And a lot of it is not paying the people under you the living wage you should pay them.
Exactly.
I'm looking at you, Walmart.
Yes.
Where you
Yes.
where the Walton family are billionaires, but many of the employees are on SNAP.
Yeah.
Every time somebody says, I say that we shouldn't have billionaires, I'm accused of class warfare, and people get very, well, what do you mean we shouldn't have billionaires? We shouldn't have right now, Elon Musk is on the cusp of being a trillionaire.
I know, in
Not
the
a
next 5
billionaire,
years.
a
And but
trillionaire.
also his, package from Tesla is
Yeah.
going to be worth $1 trillion on paper.
On paper.
But
well,
you
this
saw
is the
Bill-
note. I
right,
love this
on the
idea.
paper that he's going to have to carry around
Yeah,
in the back.
exactly.
He's going to need several Cybertrucks
You would
for that.
see it. You would see it like, oh my God, like every time he went out of his house because he wouldn't want to carry the money, but
Yeah.
he'd have to have hundreds of people carrying backpacks and briefcases filled with
We're going to
money.
have to go to Mars to put some of it up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Please
right.
go to Mars.
He's banking up
So
there.
wait, it sounds like you agree with young Billie Eilish on this No Billionaires.
Oh, yes. What did she, no, let's see. Do we have?
We probably have a clip.
Okay, let's watch.
I'd say if you have money, it would be great to use it for good things and maybe give it to some people that need it. And love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties.
So that was at the Wall Street Journal Innovator Awards. Hello, News Corp, Rupert Murdoch. But Zuckerberg was apparently in the room there. And I kind of love her approach.
Yeah.
No hate. I'm just saying.
I know. I just love the fact that clearly she felt like she needed to say something. Like, she wanted to just accept the award, but she's like, wait, Zuckerberg's here.
Right.
I can't just be like, thank you for this award, Rupert Murdoch. Like, I have to. And you could tell that she was probably backstage and her brother's like, you can do it. You can do it. I can do it. And I love how gentle it came out, but clear and in that very sort of sweetly condescending, Gen Z
Sweetly
way.
condescending.
Yeah.
That
That's
is
it.
the
Shorties.
that is the key.
She said, "Shorties, come on,
Shorties.
You can share the wealth.
While they're on the back Googling, what's a shorty? Is that an insult
Yeah.
for billionaires?
Slack shorty."
Well, there is heightism. I take a little bit of offense. A little
I think
bit.
she meant it as probably
Yeah,
it
she's
is.
probably not. He probably.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. Okay, so Tuesday is a big election day in multiple states that we need to be paying attention to, including ours of California here, Prop 50.
Prop 50,
On the
Proposition
ballot.
50. Everybody understand how important Prop 50 is? I hope everybody does.
Do tell.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like the perfect opportunity.
well, it is
we're on a podcast.
critically
Right.
important in terms of redistricting temporarily to match what Texas is doing, to offset what Texas is doing. Texas really has already just done wild gerrymandering to get 5 extra Republican seats. We have to just defensively match that. But the problem is that there are other Republican states that are moving in the same direction at Trump's insistence to redistrict to get more Republican seats. And so we on the Democratic side, and this is not a race to the bottom. It doesn't have to be. This is a race to maintain the status quo. This
right,
is a race
it's a counteroffensive.
to
right?
it's a counteroffensive. It's very, very important.
I think of it like basketball. Years ago, the Warriors had a young player named Stephon Curry, and he started shooting 3-pointers from like 30 feet out. And every other NBA team was like, we need a guy who does that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they were like, that's not fair, that just
Yeah.
seems like he's
Right.
cheating. And just sort of said like, I mean, the Warriors would have won more than 4 championships. But it's like you have to sort of know, it's the art of war.
Right.
You have to meet your enemy where they are and be prepared to fight like they fight.
Yes, but but it doesn't have to escalate. I mean, the key to this one is, and I think the Democrats understand this, is that you don't want to get the Republicans to do even more.
Yeah.
What you want to do is to stop them from doing what they are doing, take away any incentive for what they're now doing.
And you want to be taken seriously by the Republicans.
Yep.
And I think, as we know, Democrats, some among our leadership sometimes, are some unserious people.
Wait a
I
minute.
was waiting for you to finish that sentence.
Kamau, I'm shocked.
I know, I'm
Shocked.
sorry. This is my Billie Eilish moment.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say shorties. I don't mean that. I mean in a Gen Z way.
Yeah.
That whatever Gavin Newsom is or isn't, and we can certainly talk about that for a long time, he's at least making sure that the Republicans take him seriously as a I hate to say as an opponent, but as a force.
And that's exactly right. He's showing himself to be a force. And, speaking of forces, the other person that I have been talking about and talking with, who is probably going to be mayor of New York City after Tuesday's election, and that is
Curtis Sliwa.
Oh!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got
Wrong
excited. Wrong podcast.
I mean, I was very. I mean, I had never talked to him directly before.
Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah, let's make
Let's
that
be
clear.
clear.
But I just thought he was so impressive.
So you talked to him. You talked to him.
I talked to him on just a couple of days ago.
Substack.
On
You were on your
Substack.
Substack.
Did a
Oh,
Substack Live.
wow.
And he is the thing that I really appreciated about him is not only is he absolutely focused on the affordability of New York. I mean, he's just like a laser beam. That's what he's talking about. Not democratic socialism, not Trumpism. It's all about making New York affordable for average working people. But he also is so upbeat. Through the entire interview, he was just smiling. He was laughing.
And it was genuine, and it didn't feel.
was genuine.
He was serious
It was
when he needed
absolutely
to be.
Because he
authentic.
hasn't been in politics long enough to learn how
Right.
to do the thing that politicians do, like pretend to be having a good time. So
No, he's
actually
he's
authentic, yeah.
absolutely the real thing. Which,
and I think that he understands that, like, because all these sort of ugly attacks are aimed at his way, the more he can let it roll off his back, the better he becomes. Because I've seen him, like, some of those debates with Cuomo, you can almost feel him sometimes. He's like nailing Cuomo with rhetoric, and he pulls up a little short at the end to be like, I should be, but I'm a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I think you're right.
It's like he's
Well,
like,
that's
we'll go all the way there.
yeah, of course, that's the way to do it. I mean, Andrew Cuomo, let me confess, I was
disclosure.
in an administration. We were both members of the cabinet, Bill Clinton's cabinet. And, I've been disappointed with him. I mean, recently, he has sounded like Donald Trump. I mean, that's what he's campaigning on.
Because he's clearly doing this selfishly.
Yes.
That he's not doing this for New York. He's doing this because right now his Wikipedia entry ends on controversy, and he needs something under that to sort of squash the controversy.
Which
section.
would
Yes,
be
he-
more controversy.
Yeah.
So let's
no,
try
I-
and make him mayor again.
Yeah, let's-
But it's sad.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
To
No,
me, it's sad.
Oh,
It
it's
doesn't
awful.
It doesn't feel in any way like a thing he would want to do if everything was equal. If he had just termed out as governor and then suddenly was like, I would like to, he wouldn't run for mayor. This is all about how his campaign, how his career is.
Kamau, in your experience with these politicians, I have my experience.
Yes, you have more than I do.
But why do you think somebody like Andrew Cuomo is ending his career with this torrent of Islamophobia and racism and stuff that you don't want anybody to associate with your career?
I mean, it's clear that whatever his incentives were earlier in his career, maybe when you worked with him, they have switched. And I think a lot of that comes from ego, and a lot of that, and ego is a bad place to be.
Ego? Politicians?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that, and that's what you're seeing with Zoran is that currently his ego is right-sized.
Yeah.
But with I think the longer you're in politics, and again, we can see this among the leadership of both parties, the more it's about maintaining your power and position and your access to power and your access to capital than it is about like the good people of whatever district you
So
come
does
from.
the politics, but does being a politician change you? That is, Zoran is, he's 34 now. AOC is 35.
so.
Would we expect in 10 years that there will be kind of the typical politician that we...
I mean, here's the thing. I think things, no matter what happens to him in 10 years, we have to understand that there's going to be somebody who's the next Zoran or the next AOC who's going to be like, you sold out. And that's just how it works. You know what I mean? Like, whether
Right.
he did or not. Because also, you know what the worst thing that's going to happen to him?
becoming mayor of New York
Exactly.
City.
Thank you. Do you understand?
you
That is a
can't- it is
horrible
the
job.
worst. It's
It
the
is a
terrible
horrible-
job.
I think mayor of any big city is a bad job because
No,
you
but
don't actually
that
have
one-
as much
But
power.
New York
that's the
City.
worst of the bad job. Like,
No,
I would rather come out tomorrow. You wake up as the mayor of New York City, or you wake up as just an MTA driver. Like,
Well,
I'd be like,
I knew Bill de Blasio before he became mayor, and I thought when he got elected, I thought, he's,
Yeah.
and the poor fellow, he couldn't hack it.
I was living in New York when he was elected, and I learned a lot about New York mayor from him because he at one point there had been some sort of police malfeasance that he spoke out against of the police who had done the malfeasance, and then a cop was killed in the line of duty, and he showed up at the cop's funeral, and all the police turned their back on him, and I was like, oh, so you're not in charge. You're not. You think you're
No, the
by
mayor of
title.
New York is not in charge.
And it was like all he had to do was put his head down. Like I was like, he's actually afraid right now.
Yeah.
The mayor of New York is
Yeah.
afraid of his employees. That showed me that this is So I feel bad for Zoran because he's
Right.
like,
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
you
maybe
won.
maybe
The
he
the minute he wins, people are going to be mad at him about not the potholes.
the minute. I
The
mean, the
minute.
same 60-second.
Yeah.
But it's maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he will.
I think he will.
I think he. It's just about, can you get the levers of New York working on your side fast enough that the people who voted for you don't blame you for things that you couldn't have pulled off.
Now, you said the word fast,
Yeah.
and that is exactly, people talk about New York minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
New York, it's sludge.
Mhm.
I mean, to try to get anything done in New York
That's what-
is almost impossible.
People are going to be like the next day, like, are the buses free yet? Where are those free
Right.
grocery stores? Like
Right.
the next day.
Yeah,
and then
it's
there's
true.
going to be a countdown. And then every opponent of New York. And that's the thing I think is so funny. Like, I don't know what it's called now, but New York One was like my favorite news station when I lived in New York because it made New York feel like Dayton, Ohio. It was just people complaining about potholes and like the light bulbs being out on the streets.
Yeah.
It was made New York seem like very regular. And I think that you have to have a plan so that those people feel like on day one, oh, the light's back on, the pothole is fixed, and
Right.
it's just impossible to do.
You also have to be able to appoint people and find people who are good enough
Yeah.
to take these huge agencies. I mean, impossible agencies.
People
like,
who've worked for several administrations, so you're just the new guy.
Yeah, like the school system. So
Yes.
I'm hoping that, or
I know.
I hope he
Well,
wins, and also I
and
feel
that he
bad for
actually
him.
Right.
does well.
Yeah.
So can we? I hate to do this to
Yeah.
us. Can we talk about Trump?
What?
Ugh,
I gotta go.
I know.
Yeah, I
See ya.
have to go
It's good
too.
But it's good
Just
to see
be
both of you.
careful. It's
Yeah,
been
just
Bye, guys.
do
lovely.
like a monologue.
Thank you. So anyway, but really, so what has he been up to? So his approval ratings, low.
Not according to him.
Oh, that's
Not
true.
they're all time high. According to him, they're all time high.
I
And
know,
also
but there is the
economy-
world of fact
Yeah.
and the world of Trump.
But you know what frustrates me about that? He was on the plane and he said, this is the China thing. He was traveling back around. He said, my approval ratings are all time high. The economy is the greatest it's ever been. I ended 8 wars. And the media on the plane is just like, 8 wars, you said? All time high. Like, there's
Right.
no, like, can I
Ask you about a data point
Yeah,
that contradicts you?
They just sort of sit there and, and steno hysography as if that's what their job is. in
Well,
that
I mean,
moment.
he said to the media on the plane that if this was if out of 10 points, my meeting with Xi Jinping, my meeting was a 12. Well, actually, what we know is the agreement, to the extent there was any agreement at all, simply brought China and the United States back to where they were before Trump started the trade war. I mean, there is nothing,
I know.
there is no there. Didn't Gertrude Stein say that about Oakland, California? I mean, there is
That's why we
really
don't have a
no,
lot of Gertrude Stein streets out here.
Yeah, exactly.
no there. There's no there. And it's the same thing with everything else he is talking about. I mean, everything he's bragging about, there's nothing. The economy is deteriorating so fast. It's scary.
But do you remember that psychiatrist wrote in and they were like, this person said, it's not lies if you believe it. So think about he's stunted. So think about a young child who, and you say to the child, don't eat the cookie before dinner. You promise? You can't have a cookie before dinner. And then the kid walks up and there's like cookie all around the mouth. And you're like, you ate the cookie. And they're like, no, I didn't. Because they don't, the reality they want in their head, there's merged with the outside reality. So it's not a lie. It's like wishful.
But you weren't justifying. You aren't justifying.
I'm not justifying. I'm saying
You're
he's
saying
like a
give
stunted.
Trump a break.
Give him a
He's
break
young
because
child.
I'm saying he's a stunted, broken person. We need
He's a
him
stunted
out.
person.
We can't be. We
But I
can't
think
be trusted with that.
But the big thing is that, and this is true of all of our politicians at a certain point, or all of anybody in these positions, that we don't have a system. And that's what we've learned. Trump has proven. He's like, I used to say he's like a secret shopper who comes in to show you that
Right.
things are not,
What's-
that the store is not running the way you think it is.
Right.
And so,
And it's
because
easy to move the price
it's-
tags,
yeah,
and
it's-
the cart's wheels broken.
Exactly, and it's easy to demand a discount on a thing that doesn't have a
Right,
discount
right.
item, and it's easy to return something that the store doesn't even carry.
Yep.
It's
you
called
know.
American capitalism.
So and the system that we thought had checks and balances, he's proven there are zero. My favorite news story right now is under the category of technically, where they show something that Trump said or did that was horrible, and then they go, technically he's not allowed to do that.
That's every story.
well, it's like the White House was the big one. Like, technically, this is not exactly how this is
Well,
supposed to
technically
work.
means legally.
Yeah.
You know, constitutionally.
Yeah.
I mean-
But it doesn't matter because he doesn't respect anything.
Right.
And he doesn't even respect his own self-interest.
Well,
Back to the reporter's notepad.
yeah.
But the reality is that he now has, as you know, he has engineered a Republican Party in Congress that will rubber stamp anything he does, so he can tell them, and he will tell them exactly what he wants. And if he doesn't want it, they won't do it. And if they won't do it, Congress won't do it.
And they won't even like swear in a newly elected congressperson, the woman from Adelita.
Yes.
From Arizona, even though you're supposed to do that.
Because she
Technically, you're supposed to do that.
Because she would vote for
the Epstein
files, for revealing the Epstein files.
Okay, let's go on this. So there's the Epstein Memorial Ballroom. You know that's what we're all supposed to
That's
be
what we're
calling
calling
it.
it. Yeah, that's what I mean. All the corporations are contributing
That's true.
to
the
the
Epstein
Memorial.
Memorial.
That is effectively what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
keep my name out of it ballroom.
Right. So, but then we have over there in England, across the pond, we have King Charles
I think I want to
telling his brother.
Can I just give some kudos to King Charles? I've never done this
It's the
before.
first time in
I'm
history.
not-
He's
I'm
not even. I mean, it doesn't even happen for him with anybody. Even though he's the king of England, he doesn't get a lot of kudos.
Yeah, I think that booting his brother out of the monarchy, I mean, stripping him of his titles, stripping him of his palace.
Yeah.
I mean everything.
As I said earlier, the fact that he was like the most disrespectful thing he did to his brother was like, now you have a last name.
Yeah. Welcome
Wait.
to normal. Now
Welcome
go to
to-
the
people-
What's
DMV
yeah,
and
the
yeah.
use
last name is
it.
Windsor?
No, it's Windsor Mountbatten. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like
Oh.
Windsor It's like another.
Windsor
Oh,
Mountain.
good luck adding
Yeah.
that to all your IDs.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Now
I mean,
people are
it
going
Oh,
to
it's
call
hyphenated. Oh, it's not hyphenated.
you. Yeah.
But
No, it's good.
but
yeah.
but
It's
if
hard to
Charles
spell.
can do that, I mean, hello,
So the
Republicans in
real
Congress?
monarchy,
because they believe in shame in England.
when the real monarchy seems to be doing slightly, better things than the fake monarchy
You
here.
mean the monarchy here?
Yes, than our monarchy.
because England still has a concept of shame.
That's right.
Which-
And they have
See,
an unwritten constitution, which means that they've got to really pay attention.
Yeah,
Right.
and I mean, and also think about this. So you see what happened to the East Wing. Meanwhile, in Buckingham Palace, they better not move an ashtray. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's your house, but also don't
And
Right.
it's
be
been the
touched.
same
Don't
since
touch the art.
1420.
Exactly.
Don't touch
yeah.
the art
Don't
on your
sit.
way out.
Don't
Yeah.
sit in that chair. But
Right.
I'm the king. Don't sit in that chair, king.
Right.
You know. So I think the idea that there's a level of whatever. And I'm not here to be a I love England person, but it's just interesting to see.
You sound like an
I
love
watch a
England
lot of British
person.
news, and I'm starting to just to hear them go like, "What is happening?" Like when they saw the White House being torn
What is
down,
happening?
they were like so
What is happening?
appalled.
No. Oh,
they were
dear.
gobsmacked.
Right.
That it was really fun to see. Like, oh yeah, this is what the reaction's supposed to be instead of the news here, where it's like, technically,
Right.
this is
So,
bad.
it's so depressing.
Yeah.
Well, it is depressing, but the thing is that it's so huge. I mean, he could now raise the entire White House, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be
Bob.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, he doesn't feel any constraint because there's no constraint on him. What if 3 days from now we weren't looking, the White House is gone, and instead there's a Trump Tower.
And there's no reason not to think that, because even as he's sort of like on the plane, sort of like demurred when they asked him about a third term, which is I was like, why are you asking him about a third term? But there's no reason to think that these things aren't on the table if the longer he feels like, oh, I can just do whatever I want to.
Yes, he does trial balloons.
Yeah.
He says things like the third term. Waits for the reaction. If the reaction isn't strong enough,
And it hasn't been that strong.
What about on Truth Social, where he's been talking about the filibuster as one's king of one's regime does?
well, he is telling the Republicans, the Senate Republicans, get rid of the filibuster. Now is the time so you can push through the budget. I think that the Democrats are just salivating over this. And I think the Republicans are scared. They don't want to get rid of this filibuster because they know that if the Democrats take over in the midterms or whenever they're at some point, the Democrats are going to have the Senate. The first thing they're going to do is make Washington, D.C. another state.
Yes.
Free D.C.
Free DC. They're in a free DC.
And that means 2 more senators, Democratic senators. And this is the Republican nightmare.
So we think it'll just all go away. People will be like, shh, you can't with that.
Well, I think
How do they
I think
do
it's
it
part of
then?
it's a part of the threat, the game of threat. This is all about pushing as hard as you can to strike fear in the hearts of the other side. But I still think the air traffic controllers are going to end the shutdown.
You've been saying that. What, we're on day 31 or something, or
This
32?
this is going into almost a record. The last record was 2019, right? When
I
we
think
took 35,
so, 35 days.
Oh, we'll beat that. We're gonna blow through that record. This is
Yeah,
gonna
we
be-
are.
this-
But the
this
last
is-
time it was
this is Roger Maris.
It was the air traffic controllers. Air traffic controllers are now beginning big time to call in sick.
They
Now,
have to.
They have to. Well,
Yeah.
they haven't been paid in a very long time. They're under the most stressful jobs you can imagine. They're
and
you
they were
know,
already under attack from the administration.
They
Right.
already are. So they when people can't get for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right,
the thing.
Thanksgiving.
When people are in the airport for lines for Thanksgiving and miss flights.
Missed flights,
Right. And
or
it's
they're
average,
3 hours
it's
late.
average Joes and it's average CEOs.
And
That's when it's a
Is that a
problem.
thing?
And the-
You
and-
just made that up.
And the turkeys, are not going to wait that
Turkeys.
delay of
Don't
3
call me a
hours.
turkey.
When Ted Cruz can't get to Cancun.
Right,
because-
exactly. That is a problem.
Yeah, no,
Something
it's-
needs to change.
Well, I think that's good. That the pressure is going to be
Yeah.
huge.
I think between the more that because SNAP benefits, as quiet as it's kept, are not just for Black moms with lots of children. It is for all races of people.
course.
And by the sheer numbers, white people are the most people. So that means a lot of Trump voters are on SNAP. And I think that's also because eventually some of these people are going to start to, when they have to go back to some of these town hall meetings and that is another thing. I think those two pressures are going to come to bear on the
I
party.
think they
What
they
was
are
the title
already.
of your Substack yesterday? So Kamau has an awesome Substack called Who's With Me, but yesterday it was such a good one.
It was the scariest thing this Halloween is Donald Trump's hatred for children.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And then the
was-
subhead I was pretty proud of is and I listed a bunch of not even Jason, Freddy Krueger, Pennywise, Michael Myers stole food from children.
Oh,
That's
God.
really. I mean, you don't hold back.
I don't. I really don't.
That's your
It's,
Substack.
That's
is
what
great.
that's what I love about Substack.
Yeah.
Actually. I mean, you can basically get it all
You
out.
get it all
right?
out, and you can
I,
sort of
I
let
channel
people,
my outrage.
and then
every
you can
day.
limit the comments to people who've paid you, so that you don't have to hear that. You
Yeah.
go fight about it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
tell your mama. I don't need to hear that. So but
on
at the
her
end,
Substack,
on
'cause she
her-
probably has one.
exactly,
And a podcast.
and a podcast.
If
But-
everybody has a Substack,
Hmm.
who reads other people's Substacks?
I try. I open them.
Yeah,
I
I
read
get a
yours.
lot of them.
Oh, thank you.
I read
thank you.
yours.
Thank
I
you.
don't read yours.
I don't have. I'm too
That's-
busy trying to say, can you do fewer of yours, Bob? I don't have time to do my own. No, but
No,
this,
but I'm on the app all the time. I read a lot more probably of the notes and things that are on there. I actually appreciate that function of Substack.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now we're doing a commercial for Substack.
Yeah, no, let's not.
No, we
let's
should.
do instead. Let's. What about your other pod, which is for the ACLU?
So for the last year, I've been the host of the ACLU's podcast At Liberty. I'd been a guest on the podcast, and they were looking for a new host. And I said, "What about me?" I've worked with the ACLU as one
Right.
of their artist ambassadors for over 10 years.
You do so many good things. I mean,
It's
really.
just-
Can I just tell you that I admire that?
Me too. And you do TV shows, and then you wrote an essay in this new book, Who is Government?
Yeah, with Michael Lewis, with acclaimed Berkeley author, every airport's favorite bookseller, Michael Lewis.
That's
How
so
how do
funny.
you find time for everything you're doing?
And
And you have
panic,
some little
the
children.
panic of will I be able to feed my kids, and also will I be leaving my kids a better world than when I showed up on those two twin panics. I'm always ideating is the best way to put
Right.
it. I'm an only child, so my brain's always spinning. So even though we're having a conversation, my brain is spinning about other things.
Only children. You're an only child.
I'm an only child-ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well,
What does ish mean? Did you
well, I
lie
have-
to me about being an only child?
No, I'm an only child from my only mother, but I have half siblings who are 20 years older than I am.
Did they grow up? They didn't grow up in
No,
a house with
no.
you. You're an only child.
Yeah,
You're an only-
thank you.
I'm the official spokesperson
Yeah.
for only
Oh,
children.
yeah, it seems like you dubbed me. Thank you
I
for
don't know.
recognizing
I mean,
my
I've never
category.
sort of looked at you guys, only children from askance, from afar and askance.
Are you jealous? We didn't
Yes,
have to
I am.
We didn't have to share much.
Let's just share
I don't
much.
want to go into that.
Okay. So can we talk a little bit about the economy while we're here? So the Fed is cutting interest rates. Donald is saying everything's fabulous after laying off 100,000 federal
Well,
workers.
here's the interesting thing. Trump wanted a full, either a half a point or a full point interest rate cut because he wants the economy to seem like it's booming and a lot of people are going to be hired. But the trouble is, the Fed is not going to do that as long as inflation is threatening and prices are moving up. The Consumer Price Index, the last one we had, showed 3% over the year increase, and everybody knows food prices are soaring. housing prices are soaring. Every price that you
Well,
as
SNAP
a
is disappearing.
and as a result, I think that the Fed is completely trapped. It went 1/4 point down, but even the Fed itself, one Fed governor said, this was the Trump appointee, we should have gone further down. Point, the lower you have interest rates, the more you rev up the economy. Another Fed governor, though, said, no, we should raise interest rates because inflation is threatening, and if you raise interest rates, you're stopping the economy. So we're putting, as usual, huge pressure on the Fed to do everything that needs to be done. It can't do it. And as a result, we are likely, now, part of me says this is horrible because it's going to hurt a lot of people. Part of me says this is great because it's going to bring Trump down and all the Republicans down in midterms. But we are facing an economy that is likely to really deteriorate. It's already deteriorating. And if you add in all the people who are not getting jobs and the federal workers who are laid off and don't get money, and even if they are working, they're furloughed, they are not getting paychecks. This is a big, big problem for the economy.
Which is also to sort of say this, so like we talked about the 1-2 punch of SNAP benefits and air traffic controllers on Thanksgiving. This is also going to affect the Christmas buying season, the holiday buying season, which is another way in which Trump is going to be in trouble because if the holiday buying season goes down by 5% instead of going up, he's going to be talking to he's doing a lot of
and
phone
also
calls.
the tariffs are already a factor in that. So
well, the tariffs are going up. He says now China, I'm pulling back on China.
Oh, yeah.
But the tariffs are already affecting prices. They're already pushing prices up. And his, the impossibility of trying to throw out of the country 3,000 people a month who allegedly should not be here, that's also driving prices up because it means that a lot of the farm workers, a lot of your people in kitchens, a lot of people you depend on who are actually essential for the economy, they're not going to be around.
Right.
I mean, it's Trump is destroying the economy. And on top of everything else, have I made you positive yet? Have I?
Yeah,
on top
I
of
feel
everything
positive
else,
that you're correct.
we've got the AI bubble. I mean, the entire economy.
Not get on that bandwagon.
The entire economy is now dependent on a few companies investing huge amounts of money.
People have made over $1 trillion, and then it was over 500 billion this year. The top 10 richest people have made on AI stocks alone.
Yeah, but this is
the bubble going to burst?
Which is a pretend.
This is pretend. It's just. I mean, you remember the tulip bubble?
Yes.
I mean, there was in the 16th century.
Or even better, like I sort of remember NFTs.
Yeah.
This is a supersized version of NFT, telling people this is a thing that is going to change the world. That is like, no, it's not.
Well, the trouble is, a lot of innocent people are going to be.
Yes, and I'm just to sort of link this all back to activism. The other thing that's going to happen is like a lot of people are talking about like not buying on Cyber Monday and not buying on Black Friday. Some people are talking about not buying presents this holiday season as a way to protest because that's one way we know we protest in the country is actually with our dollars. So,
that's it.
Yeah.
Remember George W. Bush right after 9/11? He said this is a time when the whole country is waiting for the president to ask them to do something, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right.
What did he say?
Spend.
Keep shopping.
Buy stuff.
Keep shopping.
Right.
Go to the mall to defend this country's honor.
But so the other thing about non-compliance, I think, is such a fascinating part of protest too, right? So all these people who are like, delete your Spotify app because they're running ICE ads, or delete your Starbucks app. This non-compliance. It's going to be an interesting time to see what are the interesting things that we can do from our homes, in addition to protesting, in addition to finding new groups to sign up with and have solidarity out in the world.
I had a conversation with my 11-year-old. Last couple of days we've talked about, because she's really the Spotify user in our house, and I've had a conversation with her like, I think we're going to have to move to another service. There's one called Qbuzz that I've been looking at, or Qobuzz. And we've talked, and she's like, but I like my Spotify playlist. And I'm like, I know, we can try to figure out if we can import them. But the idea of like, because of Trump and because of ICE and everything, that we have to make this choice. And she's like, okay. So, I mean, even the fact that like, that having this conversation in my house with my 11-year-old is like, we have to understand that there's got to be discomfort. There's got to be for the greater good.
I think that's a good piece of learning for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, my 17-year-old granddaughter is going this weekend, door to door from Mamdani.
That's fabulous.
And I mean, these kids are learning a lot about politics. They're learning about sacrificing for the common good.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to keep track of the fact that no matter how bad things are, there is this very important silver lining, which is people are learning. People are learning how important stuff is that they were taking for granted.
It's true.
For sure.
Have we finished all our topics?
I don't know. You're the topic
I'm
person.
the topic. Well,
I can throw out an audible if you want one.
Yeah, do. Go.
Just because I thought about, when you talk about the Fed government, I thought about Lisa Cook and how she had to fight for her job. Technically, he's not allowed to. It's another technically, and she fought for a job. There's been all these layoffs at CBS recently, and they've just announced them. And it is very clear that Bari Weiss, who was a Substack alumna, that the layoffs were targeting Black folks and brown folks. Like they're like a lot of, like Lisa Ling got laid off. Gail King is leaving next year, who's been at CBS forever. And then just a lot of, they ended their race and culture division, like their race and politics division. And if you look at the layoffs and just look at like who got laid off, and it is very clear that it was targeting of Black and brown folks.
Look, it still is.
Yeah.
I mean, even corporate America going through this huge round of layoffs, disproportionately women, especially women of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's racism right in front of us.
So I just wanted to end on a happy note.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you for that uplift.
Yeah, I just think because it's, we're talking about the politics, but it's also about how these corporations, these media corporations, are catering to Trump.
Yes. The other thing from the week was, so I open my laptop and kind of look at the New York Times, through half an eyeball because I'm scared. And so the fact that we are talking about nuclear weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
we're back, baby. Bring back the 80s. Hiding under our desks.
Are we high-fiving this?
No, but this is important because he is a master at keeping us all upset and stressed.
Yep.
Stress is not good for the body. It's not good for the mind. It's not good for any of us.
It works for him.
Well, it seems to work for him because he wants us to be stressed so that we cannot function well, so that we can't respond well, so that we can't
focus on the important things.
We can't focus on anything.
Reaction to
this is the Steve Bannon flood the zone idea.
Yeah.
And I think that just simply floating the idea of starting nuclear explosions again, nuclear tests, even underground. We haven't been doing this since the last one was 1992.
Yep.
I mean, why would we want to do this? Why would we want to tell essentially Russia and China and North Korea, okay, we're going to start, so maybe you should start too.
And what I've heard is that if we start, then they'll start, and we'll actually help. That will give them the ability to advance their nuclear programs.
Right.
Like, we can work on our things again. It's like, which is like, again, this used to be a thing where we've all agreed as left or right that nuclear war is bad. There used to be a thing that we could also that
for sure.
We can take that off the table.
Right.
We don't need to debate that issue before, but he's putting things back on the table every day that are now suddenly up for debate in ways that they were not up for debate before.
And the fact that they're back on the table gives him, he thinks, more power.
Yeah.
Because it means not only are people crazy about, and stressed, but it means he can then maybe take it off the table, or he can,
and then and then I ended nuclear war.
That's what I was going to say. Can someone just whisper to him that the 4 people who have won the Nobel Peace Prize around nuclear was for stopping it and saying that it's bad? I mean, doesn't he want a peace prize?
But he doesn't. He's going to say he stopped it even if he didn't. Just the same way we have the footage of him going, the new ballroom's not going to touch the East Wing.
Right.
And
Oops,
it is the East
Wing.
There's no more East Wing.
He declared war on the East
Wing. He declared war,
But that was a peaceful.
Yeah, it was a peaceful war. He didn't go nuclear on the White House yet.
I think the Nobel Committee that makes this Peace Prize decision, I would just love to be in the room when they're talking about. Well,
do you think he's actually on the? Do they have to?
He's definitely on the. He's definitely
in the minutes.
They had a long.
It's got to be on the list.
They had a conversation.
Yeah, they did. What can he do to? What can he do to us? What can he do to Norway? What can he?
I think they're probably saying, how can we justify giving to him so he'll leave us alone? Like,
Right.
how can we?
No, we can't.
No, we
He
can't.
can't. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, he
Not
keeps saying
this
he
year.
ended 8 wars, but every time I Google that, even AI is like, that's not true.
No.
Even AI.
Yeah, he made the
Even AI
Department of
done.
Defense into the War Department. It's
Right.
not.
It's not
it
really,
doesn't- It's not really
peace.
peace.
Doesn't get
Anyway.
the whiff of PC.
I want to thank Kamau Bell. Thank you,
Me
Kamau.
too. This
You
was so
would-
fun. I think you should come back if you're
I'm
willing.
happy.
Can you come
We'll-
back every
we'll-
week? Good.
We'll find out what the fans think. They
Right,
may be like,
exactly.
Okay.
yeah.
And
And you,
thank
Bob.
you,
Thank you for having me.
Heather, you're great.
You're great.
And I also want to thank our wonderful technical staff, particularly Jordan Alport, who's right over there. You don't see Jordan, but he's right there.
I can see him. He's
I see him.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
vouching.
He's right
I
there.
don't want you to think you're
I got
lying.
Vouching.
2 people who agree with me that he's right there. This isn't a Trump fiction. But I want to thank you as well. This is another hard, difficult week. And I think the most important thing is to remember that what Trump wants and what the Trump forces want is for us to be demoralized, to be discouraged, to feel like we don't have any agency. And what we discovered, and we rediscover every time, we discovered on the 18th of October, there are many more of us activists than there are of them. There's a huge, huge backlash brewing against Trump and these forces of reactionary kind of anti-democracy. And if we stay the course, if we understand what we have to do, which is continue to demonstrate, protect the vulnerable, continue to call the White House, continue to make good trouble, there is a possibility that this all may end with us being stronger as a democracy. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And we'll see all of you next week.